Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to um, deploy a Java application onto a EC2 instance, and then we'll access that Java application from our local machine. So let's start. And first, I'll show the VPC configuration which I have already created. Okay, to understand how to create VPC, so there is another video of mine, AWS VPC Masterclass. You can go through that and understand all the details about the VPC. For now, I'll just explain what all I have created. So this is my VPC, and if I go into the resource map, as you can see, there is one public subnet, and it is connected to the public route table, and the internet access is through the internet gateway. So this is the VPC configuration. I have this public subnet. Okay, now let's go to EC2, and what I'll do is I will create one instance, basically launch one instance, my web server. Okay, let's do this. Key pair is very important. Keep that in mind. Since this is a public EC2 instance, it will be in the public subnet. I'll be directly accessing this particular instance, web server SSH. Now I'll just add few security group rules, which is the firewall. One is 22 because I would need the SSH to actually deploy my application. And then I will add one custom TCP. Okay, the port would be 8080 because I'll be deploying my application, Spring Boot application, and it would be available on this particular port. And then this is my other configurations, and with this I'll just launch this instance. It will take 1 or 2 minutes. We'll just wait for the instance to be up. The instance is basically doing the status check, and I have got the public IP as well. If I go here, I can see all the details of the EC2 instance in this case. And if I go into the security rules, so I am allowing SSH access basically from any source and 8080 from any source. I'll use this first to SSH, and I have copied down some of the commands. So basically, I need the key pair basically to log in into the instance. So this is that SSH command. The other commands are basically to install Java and execute Java. And in between, as the application is still getting ready, I'll just explain what is the application all about. It's a very simple Spring Boot application that I'll be deploying. There is one simple controller where I'll send this message, and it will just give me the output as received message and whatever message I'm sending. That's it. I mean, it's a very simple Spring Boot application. I have already created the jar, which is AWS demo.jar. I'll be deploying this jar, and let's see the status of the instance. It's still initializing. The test check is still initializing. Open the command prompt. So this is SSH minus I, and this is my key pair. So if you had observed, there was one option, right? While creating the instance, we had to assign this key pair. So this key pair is required if you want to connect to your EC2 instance, and this is the default EC2 user because we are using Amazon Linux here, and then the public IP address of our uh, EC2 instance. Let me try if I'm able to. Yes, I think so. Yeah, I'm able to connect to my EC2 instance. Once I am connected to my EC2 instance, let's do this update part first. This is just updating all the packages. Yeah, there is nothing to update. I'll install Java 21 years. This is OpenJDK Java, which is being installed here. So once this is installed, okay, now we are good here. I'll just check the Java version. It is OpenJDK 21. And one more thing that I need to do is I need to copy my jar file, right? So I'll go to this command prompt. So this is SCP command. This SCP command will also need the key pair basically, and then the jar file, and then the public IP address and at which location I want to store the jar file. So I'll just run this command now. So this will copy the AWS demo.jar, our application jar, onto the EC2 instance. Okay, I've given wrong IP address. Let me change the public IP address here. Now it should work. It is getting copied. Once this is copied, we'll just check if the jar file is, yeah, jar file is copied. So we are good here. Now what we would do is we'll just start the application like normally we do in the Java with the Java command. Now this application is coming up. Application is up. Now let's run the, this is our public IP address of EC2 instance. So I'll just pass the URL. So URL of my application and this will be my test message, my first message. As you can see, we are getting the response from our EC2 instance. So we have successfully deployed our application. It is also getting connected. Now what I'll do is I'll just add one more thing here, which is the route 53. Instead of pasting the URL, I will do it via the route 53. For route 53, there will be a separate video. For now, just note that in the hosted zones, you can create your own hosted zone, and in your hosted zone, you can basically create a record, and that record will actually point to your EC2 instance. So let's see how it looks like. Uh, demo EC2. Okay, let's. So this would be my URL, demo EC2 dot. This is my domain actually, activation.click. Okay, and I'll just copy the public IP address and it's a simple routing. There are a lot of options, but we need just simple routing for now. I'll just create this record. And if I just check this record, as you can see, this record is ready. Now what I'll do is instead of the IP address, I will use the domain name, and this would be my second message. As you can see, now we are able to route it through Route 53. Basically, it is first going to the Route 53. Then Route 53 is actually pointing to our EC2 instance, and our EC2 instance is basically executing the application which is running. So this is how we can deploy an EC2 instance. A few important points to note is, so this is in the public subnet, but ideally in production, etc., it won't be in the public subnet. It would be in the private subnet. So there is generally a load balancer on top of that, or API gateway. But for now, just as you can see, very important point is this security group. So 22 was used for this one, okay, where I'm doing SSH and I'm doing installation and I started the application. 8080 is when I'm calling this from my web browser. So both of these inbound rules have to be enabled. Otherwise, it will not work. So this is the part of your security group settings. So make sure that you don't miss out on this one. If you miss out on this one, then there will be a connection timeout. If you want to try this out, let's do that. I will go to security groups. Okay, this is my security group. What I will do is I'll just remove this one for now, and let's see what will happen. I'll say test message one. Let's see what happens. Yeah, as you can see now, it is stuck in the connection timeout. It is stuck in the connection timeout just because of that security group setting, right? This is the issue that you might face if you are not basically allowing this inbound rule. So now I'm allowing this inbound rule, custom TCP, 8080 port, and my source would be anywhere for now. And this is it. Now if I do, now it is working fine, correct? So this is very important to keep in mind. So this was all about the deploying the Java application on EC2 instance. Thank you so much. Have a good day.